Hello, beautiful people. I hope that wherever you are in the world, that you are doing well and that you are taking care of yourselves. I'm Chris Danker, and this is Let the Adventure Begin. Let the Adventure Begin with Chris Danker podcast. I don't know about you, but I've been feeling kind of on edge since the new year started, and I think there's a lot of different reasons why. But even as a middle school counselor, and getting back into the swing of things, the last week went really well. Things, kids were seemingly getting back into it, and then today, Tuesday, it's like it just fell apart for a lot of people. I was meeting with kids right and left. I even had a few staff members come in that needed to vent. It was a day. And I'm not saying that it was bad by any means. And in fact, I kind of played it off as, we just had a full moon. So that might have had something to do with it. I think there are a lot of people who are not necessarily thinking that they are under the weather, but they're getting to there. It's really frigid in my part of the world. And so but just things have been feeling, off for me personally as well. And so I saw a reel on Instagram that it finally hit home with me as to kind of how I was feeling. And it was this woman, it was in her house, and someone's like, "You haven't left your house in, a few days. How come?" And she's like, "It's expensive out there." Not wrong. It is expensive out there. But I think what just kind of hit home for me even more was like, I like being in my home. And as my son and I were talking recently, I said, you know what? I don't want another pandemic. I really don't. But after that experience of not being able to go out and basically, just be at home pretty much 24/7, I'm like, I think that's what I miss. And I didn't realize it because at the time it felt, prison is not the right word because that is not it, but just the whole, lockdown that we experienced just felt very suffocating at the time. And now I look back on it and I was like, I got to explore some creative pursuits that I hadn't done. I read more. I did more writing. I journaled more. My husband and I had long conversations. We went out for walks, socially distancing ourselves, but we got a lot of fresh air. I was teaching in the classroom during that year. And so it was a lot of obviously doing Zoom lessons and getting creative in that way of being able to reach my students and to put, just silly little videos together in which I would have my husband involved as well. And I started a YouTube channel, which I am going to resurrect. I'll be talking about that next week, as a matter of fact. But, I started thinking about that reel of she enjoyed being in her home. She didn't want to leave her home, granted, because it's expensive out there, which I also get. But it's that kind of hibernation mode, maybe, or just that feeling of safety and of peace and just enjoying where I am, and getting back to something that is simple, the simplicity of not needing the stuff, not feeling the need to get out and do things, and just enjoying what I have. I mean, I'm a person who loves to read, and I love to accumulate lots of books, and I haven't read all of them. And even though I have donated quite a few and have curated really what I want to have, there are still quite a few of what I have in my little at-home book library that I haven't read yet. And I'm like, you know what? This might be a good time to do that. And I also started thinking about the meditation. I do 2 meditations in the morning. One is the book Wherever You Go, There You Are by Jon Kabat-Zinn. It is my go-to reading, and I read just one passage every morning, and then I do a calm guided meditation. And today's particular reading was titled Wherever You Go, There You Are, which is obviously the title of the book. So I just want to share a little bit of that with you. So here's the section I want to share. Have you ever noticed that there is no running away from anything? That sooner or later, the things that you don't want to deal with and try to escape from, or paper over and pretend aren't there, catch up with you, especially if they have to do with old patterns and fears? The romantic notion is that if it's no good over here, you have only to go over there and things will be different. If this job is no good, change jobs. If this wife is no good, change wives. If this town is no good, change towns. If these children are a problem, leave them for other people to look after. The underlying thinking is that the reason for your troubles is outside of you, in the location, in others, in the circumstances. Change the location, change the circumstances, and everything will fall into place. You can start over, have a new beginning. The trouble with this way of seeing is that it conveniently ignores the fact that you carry your head and your heart and what some would call your karma around with you. You cannot escape yourself, try as you might. And what reason, other than pure wishful thinking, would you have to suspect that things would be different or better somewhere else anyway? Sooner or later, the same problems would arise if, in fact, they stem in large part from your patterns of seeing, thinking, and behaving. Too often our lives cease working because we cease working at life, because we are unwilling to take responsibility for things as they are and to work with our difficulties. We don't understand that it is actually possible to attain clarity, understanding, and transformation right in the middle of what is here and now, however problematic it may be. But it is easier and less threatening to our sense of self to project our involvement in our problems onto other people and the environment. And then it goes on to say, basically that wherever you go, there you are. That's where you're going to be. Your mind and your heart. It doesn't matter the circumstances. It doesn't matter if you change cities, change jobs, change relationships. You're always going to be there, and there's no escaping that. And so, like I said, as I was thinking about this more, and like I said, I have no desire to have another global pandemic because that was devastating, the number of lives that we lost worldwide. But just the simplicity and going back to that and looking inward instead of looking at the outside world, it really allowed us the time to slow down, to look inward, and to be with ourselves more. That's what I'm longing for. And I feel like going into 2025, I know for me, that's what I felt like I was missing. And, as I talked about, not having any, resolutions yet, and waiting and using this as a period of just kind of marinating and thinking about what it is I really want to accomplish in this next year. I think a lot of it is starting to already take shape in the form of living in more simplicity, to enjoying the little things, to being in the moment with myself, with the people that I choose to be in my world, who accept me for who I am. That is what I think I was longing for and that I felt like I was missing. So I'm really excited because that allows me, honestly, to do more with this podcast. It allows me to do more with my writing, and it will allow me to do more with journalism and meditating and just some other things that I have in the works that all are able to focus on that simplicity. So, I guess, what I just want us to all kind of think about is, just like I said, the title of the book, wherever you go, there you are. You can't escape yourself. And you don't really want to, right? I just want you to think about, what it is that you feel like maybe you're missing. And instead of looking outward at all the things going on in the world outside to find your answers, turn inward. Turn inward to yourself. And that is where you will find the solutions that maybe you're looking for, the inner peace that you are searching for. It doesn't come in all of the things and the materialistic, all the stuff. That's not where that inner peace is going to come from. It's going to come from your mind and your heart and your soul. And it's going to be beautiful if you allow that to happen. So I hope in the next week, before we meet again, that you kind of start maybe thinking about a more minimalistic, simple life and what that would look like for you. And instead of thinking about all the things that that you think you need or maybe want, instead just being, not necessarily doing, but being. So that's all I have for you this week. I hope that in the next week you let your adventure begin. Peace.